I must admit that I enjoy the PlayStation Plus service. Free games every month, a large amount of material to browse and play maybe 5 years down the road when it's not new anymore. The options are there. But when I was looking for something new to play, I decided upon Tchia, a game that I didn't know how to pronounce at first until I found out within a few minutes of starting the game up and the lead character's name is spoken, alleviating my confusion on the title. I had intended to review this game a week or two after it was released, since it was available on day one on the service. But life happened and the game got pushed back again and again and again until about, well, now. Tchia is a very story-heavy game, so I'll try my best not to spoil too much. It starts off innocently enough, with you controlling a small Tchia as she follows directions from her father and just generally explores the small island on which they reside. Eventually, a friend comes by to drop off supplies. He stays the night, but the following day, they are all visited by another man who is clearly evil. He abducts Tchia's father, and it is here that Tchia finds a power inside of her that she is able to possess various objects, both living and non. I'll get back to this in a bit. Tchia then stays for a bit with the supplier, but then he urges Tchia to leave and explore the world on her own to be able to save her father. Tchia heads to the tower in which the Emperor of the world, known as Meavora, resides, to speak with him in order to petition the release of her father. A bored, uncaring receptionist requires a few things as an offering to Meavora, and so Tchia sets out to acquire these items and return. It's here where you're given pretty much full access to the world of Tchia. Sure, you could just get the items required, which doesn't actually take very long, but the real meat of the game is just being able to look at every nook and cranny of the islands. There are a ton of collectibles, events, and just general sights to see on the two main islands, and I've spent hours upon hours just grabbing these items without even bothering to do any of the missions. The game functions primarily as an open world adventure game, and although there is a small bit of combat here and there, most of your time will just be spent walking, running, swimming, boating, climbing, and flying. Here's where that ability to possess objects comes in hand, otherwise called soul jumping in the game. Tchia has two gauges, a stamina bar and a soul bar. By pressing a button, a cursor appears and the world slows down to a crawl. You can aim at any object or creature that can be taken control of, then press another button in order to possess it. Soul jumping doesn't last forever, but instead only until the soul gauge is emptied. You can opt to clear out of the possessed thing earlier if you'd like, and can even fling that object far away, acting as a violent projectile in combat. In fact, this might be your main method of defending yourself against the odd paper soldiers that have been summoned to the world by Meavora. One of the many encounters you'll find on the islands are camps in which these paper monsters reside. By burning them all, along with the piles of ribbon that you'll see, the camp is cleared, and your reward will be found underneath the smoldering ash of the burning piles. In order to do this torching, you can easily take control of a burning log and either roll it up to a soldier or fire it like a grenade at them. It might feel a bit awkward at first, but after a few times of this, you'll easily get the hang of it. If you do manage to get strung up, your stamina bar will drop. If it depletes, it's not a huge deal. You'll simply restart at the nearest campfire that you lit. Stamina isn't just restricted to combat either. Almost everything that you do in the game consumes it. Underwater swimming, climbing, gliding using a large leaf. You can climb pretty much everything, which is pretty sweet. Stamina is very limited at first, but by finding stamina fruits, it will slowly increase, eventually to the point in which it won't be much of a burden anymore. As for your capacity of possessing things, it, like your stamina, is minimal at first. Not until you complete a specific mission will you unlock caverns that can be entered. These caverns have unique challenges that, once completed, give you a pretty hefty increase to your gauge. Just like stamina, the possession meter charges on its own, but having a large pool to rely on makes some encounters, or even simple traversal of the islands, a much easier task. So why in the world would you want to take control of animals? Well, in addition to the speed boost that the creatures like wolves and dogs have, you can fly over mountains as birds, or quickly maneuver through the ocean to collect oysters as a fish. Tchia herself moves fairly slowly, and although a boat, or more accurately a raft, is available early in the game to move around, it's a bit unwieldy to use. Really, the only time I played as Tchia in human form is when I absolutely had to, or when I was waiting for the gauge to charge enough for me to control a bird or marine animal. Tchia also gets a guitar early in the game. There's a lot of musical content, and these are done in simple rhythm games that are actually optional to complete. If you aren't into this type of thing, you can set the scene to autoplay, and you can focus on the lyrics and background. And that's one small gripe about the game. Being that it's all done in a foreign language native to the area that the game is based on, it's hard to focus on hitting all of the notes while at the same time enjoying the scene and reading the lyrics. Eventually, I just put things on autoplay so I could watch what was unfolding. As you're exploring, you'll find out that although you do get a map, the game doesn't explicitly tell you where you're at. You can use waypoints to direct yourself, but other than that, your location is never marked on the map. This is an odd design choice, but I guess they might have been going for a bit of realism. I mean, realism in a game where you can soul jump and take control of a pooping pigeon? Sure. Another neat thing about Tchia is that she is highly customizable costume-wise. Sure, the boat can also be equipped with various materials for the base, flag, and sail, but Tchia herself has a fairly sizable wardrobe that can be unlocked in various methods. Do you want Tchia to look native to her country, or maybe make her look like an American teenager? Or even a mixture of both? I found myself changing up Tchia's look every once in a while, just for a change of pace, even if it doesn't have any real effect on the game itself. It may sound like there's quite a bit of content in Tchia, and truth be told, there is. Just exploring the world will take up a large fraction of your time. Again, with all of the stamina fruits, the soul caverns, a massive treasure hunting quest, some crane games to unlock stuff, shooting ranges with your slingshot, a large codex to complete, hundreds of trinkets to find, it could best be considered a Far Cry Light. However, all of this is really just a simple diversion to what is probably my only real complaint with Tchia. The main story is really short. If you take away all of the exploration, the collectibles, the soul jumping, there's really not much substance to the game. There are 10 chapters, and many of these are simple: travel to this location, do a really simple task, and watch the video. If I was to guess, you could probably complete the main story in less than 4 hours. But at the same time, if you do this, you're just shorting yourself on the experience. Because that's what Tchia is. An experience. It's what I would consider to be a feel-good game. The story will wait for you while you explore the beautifully crafted world. Other than the soul and stamina fruits, collectibles are simply for self-gratification, and trophies, because yes, I did get the platinum. It's fun just to look around, finding everything the devs hid for you. So I actually don't mind that the story was on the short side, as I still had fun looking for everything. The only other thing that I must comment on is that I did come across a few performance issues while playing. Mostly small stuff like frame rate stuttering and getting stuck temporarily on walls while climbing, but occasionally some more game breaking, like those paper soldiers spawning inside geometry or outside of the map. Not a huge deal, as reloading a checkpoint or departing the area and returning later tends to resolve this. Tchia may not be for everyone, as it's more of a laid-back style of game, but I still had a really good time with it. A fully believable world, well, minus the soul jumping, a ton of stuff to find that will keep you occupied, a compelling story. If you have the PlayStation Plus service, there's no reason at all to at least give Tchia a try. Just be careful, as it may hook you in quickly. Final score? 6 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.